You finally got some money to upgrade your PC, so what should you upgrade in your PC? So we've been gaming on the 5600G, the CPU. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and buy a dedicated GPU so it can render the graphics. Now we chose the 6650 XT. This is great for 1080p gaming, and this is really gonna improve our FPS. We're currently using the included air cooler with the 5600G, but we can do better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do another air cooler, but even better, it's a little beefier. This one is DeepCool, the AG400 in black. This one is only $29.99. It's a great air cooler. You can also add some fans on the top for exhaust. We're gonna test out to see whether or not you need that or not. So if we have more intake fans than exhaust, we're gonna have positive pressure, and that's good to prevent dust and all that stuff. Another thing you can upgrade is maybe adding more RAM. You can add a couple more sticks of the same RAM, make sure the same frequency, CAS latency, and then make sure they're all running on the same. But if you're gaming, not doing a whole lot, then minimum of 16 gigs. This thing was doing fine. RAM is not the bottleneck inside this PC. Depends on if you need more RAM or not, but you could add some more sticks if needed. All right, I'm gonna show you how to install these things, and we're gonna test the gains that we're gonna get by adding the GPU air cooler. Let's do it. We're first going to install our air cooler because it's easier to work with when you don't have a GPU in the way. So what I do before I swap out the air coolers or anything that's attached to the CPU, I'm going to stress test it for about 30 minutes, warm that thermal paste up, because when you want to try and remove that air cooler, you don't want it to be hard, you want it to be nice and warm, so it's a little easier to pop off and remove. Then we'll clean it up and get this thing installed. All right, after we stress test for about a half hour, warming up that thermal paste so we can remove that air cooler, we're going to unplug all of these cables and the power. So we can flip it on its side, replace that air cooler. All right, take your brand new cooler out of the box, unpack everything. Got the cooler right here. Sometimes you put the fan on already on this. So basically what you want to do, you want to read the manual, because we're going to be following this DeepCool AG400. Yours might be different, so read the manual. They should have a bag with different CPU socket brackets that you're going to use. This one's an AM4, so we're going to use the AM4. Yours might be different, so follow the manual. AM4 bracket is this little square guy right here, and then we also have the screws with these little standoff things, and then thermal paste we're going to apply. Let's go take out the existing air cooler and mount this bad boy. All right, first we're going to unplug the CPU fan header right here from the motherboard. All cables are off, and then we're going to go ahead and unscrew this. Now that I know that all these screws are unscrewed, it kind of sticks a little bit. So what I kind of do is I kind of twist a little bit, and then it kind of comes loose, and then you should see something like that where the CPU still is in the socket. So make sure you kind of like twist a little bit, and then you can kind of lift up a little bit. Make sure you don't pull straight up or yank it out hard, and the CPU comes with it. I've seen a lot of times the CPU comes with that thing. Right now I want to clean this thermal paste off with some maybe isopropyl alcohol. I have 99%. I think anything over 90% is pretty good. So I'm going to clean this off. I'm also going to clean this existing air cooler, kind of clean it up. We want to get that stuff off. And it's best to use a microfiber cloth when cleaning this so it doesn't leave any additional fibers. All right, the CPU is cleaned off, and so is the old air cooler, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in the box. Never know when we need it again. All right, my back plate fell, so I'm gonna go ahead and place one hand underneath to kind of bring that back plate back up here. And then I'm gonna go ahead, instructions say to put these on there. So I'm gonna clip these on all four there. And then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put this bracket right here. And make sure these screws are on the left and the right next to the RAM. And then we're going to go ahead and screw these in here. Now let's put down our thermal paste that we got. There's a little notch in this here. We're just going to use the included one. I'm going to go put down like a little P size. You can make like a little X. Whatever works, but you're going to want to put some thermal paste down. Jeez, it's such a small hole here. All right, so that's probably good. Next step, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to make sure you take this sticker off. You want to make sure you remove that. You don't want this sticker on, or your CPU is going to have a bad time. It's not going to cool. It's not going to cool. So make sure you remove that. You want contact directly with these heat pipes right here. And then you want to install it with the fan next to the RAM, because we want the intake coming here. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of mount that right like this. Put those down right on the screws there. And we're gonna screw that down. And kind of go down evenly. Go a little bit at a time, left and right, because we wanna smush that thermal paste nice and even. We don't want it to be lopsided. There we go. After we're done screwing, we're gonna go ahead and plug these in. Plug this into the same fan header that the other one was in. You can remove this. And then this other RGB, looks like we got a daisy chain. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this one that's currently plugged into the RGB, and we're gonna go ahead, add it to this. So I'm gonna plug this, the one with the male in, the prongs, we're gonna plug it into the existing one that was in there. And then we're gonna go ahead and plug this one from the fan into the motherboard RGB header. RGB fan on the cooler will be daisy chained to the RGB on the case fans. All right, CPU cooler mounted. All right, so let's install this GPU. The only thing you need to do is take it out of the box. We're gonna go ahead and put this slot into the PCIe slot on the motherboard. I'll show you where to do that. And then we're gonna take out the expansion slots so these can fit in and screw in. And then we'll plug in the power cable and you should be good to go. Let's get it done. So installing the GPU is simple. So you're just gonna plug in this slot into the PCI slot here on the motherboard. And then what you wanna do is you want to first make sure that this clip is pushed back. So when you push it in, this clips forward and locks it in, but push that one back. And then we need to take out these expansion slots right here. So what I usually do is I kind of hold it up to where it would plug in and just know which expansion slots I need to take out. But pretty much it's always gonna be like the second one, and then how many ever. This is probably like a 2 expansion slot, so if you put it here, I'm probably gonna need to remove this one and then this one here. So let's do that right now, get that removed so we can slide it in and screw it in. So on the back of this PC, we're just gonna go ahead and loosen this up. Tight. Gotta use a screwdriver for this, so loosen that up. And then you can slide this back. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna move the second one and then the third one. So we're just gonna go ahead. These are ones that it looks like you kind of gotta, these are ones that you gotta kind of bend off, so watch out before you kind of break the motherboard here. So kind of bend that a little bit maybe so it doesn't scrape the motherboard here. And then you just kind of break that off, looks like it's welded in by 2 little clips here. And do the same with this one, but watch out for the motherboard. So I'm going to kind of bend this a little bit and bend this down as to not scrape the motherboard. And then you should be able to kind of bend that off, kind of wiggle that off right like that. All right, now we should be able to put this in. So remember, we're gonna go ahead and push this back. We're gonna go ahead and put that in the slot right here, slide that along right here. And we're just gonna kind of push it in. You should hear a click. Looks like that's in. Now we're gonna get some screws from the case so we can mount this GPU right here. You can grab the same screws you use for the PSU, ones that fit in here. What I'll do is I'll put the shield forward first, and I'll lift up this GPU, screw in that first one, and I'll screw in the bottom one. Looks like this screw's in the way, so I'm gonna remove this screw here. And then we're gonna put this one in, making sure this GPU is not dropping down or sagging. So screw those both in, push that all the way forward and screw that back on. There we go. Looks like that's mounted good. Now we're gonna get the 8-pin power connector from the PSU and plug that in. All right, go ahead and pull your PCIe cable 8-pin through from the PSU, a little grommet back here. Pull that out so we can go ahead and plug in. This only requires an 8-pin, so this one has a dual where if you need 2 8-pins, but this is an ugly cable. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie this together because we only need 1 8-pin. We don't need this other one right here. So we're gonna plug this, we hold this together so we can complete an 8-pin. And then we're gonna go ahead, the clip is on top, here's the clip. So we're gonna go ahead and just push that in there. Yeah, like a little clip. Boom, all right. And we'll go ahead and manage that so it looks a little bit better. All right, that looks a little bit better, but I don't like these cables that come with PSU. I usually get cable extensions. They look a little bit better and you don't have these, but that's okay. We're just going for functionality. I'm not going for full aesthetics, but if you do have, anywhere from $50 to $100, you can get some cable extensions that can make these look a little nice and have these hide below the PSU shroud here and have some nice cable extensions up here and also up here in the EPS and CPU cable here. But right now, we're not looking at spending more money. We're just gonna get functionality, so that'll do. GPU installed. Now let's go ahead and test this out and let's see how it performs. All right, when you're plugging everything back in, including the power, make sure, very important, that your display cable from your monitor, do not plug it into your motherboard. You're not running the graphics on the motherboard anymore. You're running it on the GPU. Very important, you need to plug this into the GPU from now on, because you now have a dedicated graphics card. All right, we just installed the graphics card, so now we're gonna install the software so we can get the drivers for it. And so if you have an NVIDIA card, like 3060, 4090, all that stuff, usually I install the NVIDIA GeForce Experience software, and there you can get the drivers. We have an AMD card, the 6650 XT, and so we're gonna go ahead and download, search for the Adrenaline software to get our drivers. So I'm gonna bring up Google right now, and then Ryzen 6650 XT drivers, and so that will take us to this page here. Right here, you just kind of search for the GPU you have. We have Windows 10, so we're going to go ahead and install the Adrenaline Edition software right now, and go in downloads and get that installed here. All right, so this pops up. I don't want to collect information. We're gonna go ahead and do a full install. You can do minimal install, driver only for the 6650 XT. So let's go ahead and just install that right now. It goes black for a little bit while it updates the drivers here. That's fine, don't freak out. Just let it do its thing. It's gonna go through everything here. I'm not gonna collect anonymous information. I'm gonna uncheck that, and we're gonna do a system restart. All right, so the software is installed, and then go to settings, and then it shows here that we got the 6650 XT, and then the software and driver. Looks like here's the driver version. Since we have an AMD CPU and an AMD GPU, we're gonna go ahead and enable AMD Smart Access Memory. And so that will allow the CPU to use a lot of the GPU's memory, or more of the memory, the VRAM. And so what we're gonna do, since we meet all the requirements, AMD 5000 series motherboard, which we have a 520, and we have an AMD Ryzen 5000 series processor. We have a 5000 series GPU or later. We have the latest driver, latest BIOS. So we should be able to get into BIOS and enable the Smart Access Memory. So let's do that so we can get a little boost. As a reboot, we're gonna hit the delete button to get into BIOS. Just keep tapping that. All right, we're in BIOS right now, so we're gonna go into advanced mode. Once we're in advanced mode, we're gonna go to the advanced menu, and we're gonna go down to the PCI subsystem settings. Now this is ASUS BIOS. If you have a different motherboard, it's probably located somewhere else, so make sure you try and figure out where that's at, or Google it. So go in here, and we're gonna look for above 4G decoding. We're gonna enable that, and then we're gonna go ahead and enable this, the resize bar support. And then you're gonna go into the boot, and make sure this is disabled. By default, it is. My audio died on my mic, so you basically just want to go to exit, save changes, and reset, hit OK to reboot and get back into Windows. Once you're back in Windows, open up the Adrenaline software, and then go to the Performance tab, go to the Tuning section, and then go down to the AMD Smart Access Memory. It is now enabled. Let's game. All right, we're gonna test out Fortnite first. Rendering mode, we have Performance mode, and then we have View Distance Near, Textures Low, Low. So let's go test it out and see how well it does. Damn, feeling lucky. Rendering mode, DirectX 11 with quality presets still low, and we're going to see exactly how they perform using the 6650 XT. Let's go. All right, we're testing out Halo right now, 1080p on low. Right now I got unlocked frame rate, VSync off here, and then everything is on low here. So let's give it a try and let's see how well we do.
Cause I let my feelings take control.
All right, now we're gonna play on high, 1080p, quality presets on high, and we're gonna see how it performs. All right, this is Call of Duty. We're doing minimum quality presets, 1080p right now, and everything's low and very low. So let's go see how well this does. Whoa! All right, now we're doing 1080p ultra quality presets. All right, we're at 1080p and we're playing CSGO, and we got global shadow quality low and everything else here very low. All right, we're at 1080p and we're doing high. Here's all the settings. All right, we're playing Valorant 1080p right here, and we have the graphics quality all on low and off here. So let's go see how it performs.
Put the place up. Put my face up.
I'm gonna play it all on high. Here's all the settings right now.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
All right, time for Apex Legends 1080p. Here's all the settings here. We're gonna do low, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look to see how it does. I didn't realize until after capturing the data and editing this video right now that my frames per second was actually capped at 144. Apex actually caps the frames at 144, and I need to go into properties, and then you can set to unlimited. So I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it here, capped at 144. Because it still felt really smooth and really good. Even at all the high settings right here, when I switched it all to 1080p at high, here's all the settings that I used to capture this next vid, it was still capping at 144. So that means the frames were actually higher than 144, so which is really good because you can actually play Apex Legends at high settings and still get above and beyond 144 frames per second. Here's the graphics right here, and advanced graphics. Got the long shadows and stuff all off here. All right, this is GTA 5. We're doing the benchmark test right now, 1080p. We're gonna see how well it does now that we have this GPU. He's not driving very good. You can't drive on the yellow line like that. Running reds? Oh my, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.